It's time for a little Funky Friday. From their funky hidden headquarters, your hosts, Keith and Gary. Not Jerry.
I love that theme.
Just
That theme is
into
awesome.
the music.
And I do have it here. I think I do. Yep, here it is.
I feel like doing the Carlton dance to it, though.
Yeah, it's so nice and bouncy.
I like to do the running man.
I don't see you running, Gary.
If you could see my balls right now, you would.
That's it.
And she's not allowed to leave.
Yeah, I'm here against my will. I was just hanging out before the show and I'm locked in. I can't leave.
It's Friday, guys. Keith will be here in a moment. Today is his mother's birthday, and I thought we'd have a little time to talk about it today, and give him a chance to tell us some fun stories. You know,
You made Penny face palm.
Oh,
and yeah, see, I told you, John. She says she never has anything to say. What is she doing? She's talking. I have nothing to say on
Shut the
TGIF.
fuck
I
up.
don't know. I don't know anything about what you're going to be talking about. Well, you have an
I'm
opinion.
not
on everything.
nerdy enough.
You wouldn't be my girlfriend if you weren't opinionated.
Oh, now you're playing that card. Okay.
And there's John. Hey, John.
Yep. Hello.
How you doing, John?
I'm doing good.
How's the morning shows going? You enjoying
I
it?
think they're going okay.
Important part, are you enjoying doing it?
Oh yeah, it's
No point in doing it if you're not having fun.
It's kind of fun getting shit on by my own panel, and
Yes, I was just talking to Kitty over at Flip City. If you guys have not checked out that magazine, it's sort of a cracked and mad magazine, but from a more conservative skew, and I do like it. I find them very funny. They skewer a lot of people, a lot of things, and she's like, she's been entertaining the idea of me doing some writing for them. So she was like asking some questions, and like, but as good as you are at giving it and dishing it out, can you take it? And I'm like, you mean other people shitting on me? Are you kidding me? That's a rule for being a friend with me. You have to be able to shit on me.
Oh, yeah.
You have to be good at it. And that's why I give like Fat Steven so much shit, because he phones in his shitting on me. He really does sometimes, and it annoys me. I'm like, come on, work a little harder, make it worth our time. Make me feel like you really gave me a rough time there, buddy. But we all do that, and I like. And then I told her the panel is always fucking with me during the show, and I enjoy that. And so I'm assuming you're enjoying it too, John, right?
yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite thing is when I shit on you and you do that. Oh, you get exasperated. Like, oh man.
Yeah, usually when I shit on him like really hard, he just drops his head. And I'm like, oh, that was too mean.
Yeah. And I do want to address that. Look, I've been telling people we're shadow banned by YouTube. I am now kind of being shadow banned by Twitter. And I don't think that it's the people that Elon's brought on, but there's somebody over there that's still got a problem with some of the things that I say. And I noticed
He's only getting like 20 views now. You got so much more for that.
I'm going to tell you that right after I kind of bitched about it, all of a sudden, one of my new posts had over 1,200 impressions, 1,200 views. And I'm like, okay, either he fired somebody or somebody went, oh, he's calling me out. I better stop. But they're doing it to us over at YouTube. They don't like the fact that we talk with colorful language. We use colorful metaphors. We like to season our language. And we talk about subjects that they don't like. And in particular, I got in huge trouble with one episode with a buddy of mine, John Andrews, talking about that time during the Battle of Mosul when he was ordered to pick up person's head. And then he turned around and the person that ordered him to do it was gone. He didn't know what to do with it. What does he want me to do with it? So it was a funny moment, but YouTube didn't like it and they struck us. And
yeah, I think our language is one problem, but I think what really gets YouTube worked up over us is the military topics that we cover. They don't like that shit.
And I've kind of dropped for right now, dangerous military nerds, because YouTube can't handle it. I think I'm just going to do it on Rumble and on Twitter and Facebook, but to a lesser degree Facebook, because nobody watches on Facebook. But we have people watching on Rumble. We got people, and which reminds me, John, I'm like, I spent a lot of time recuperating, so I didn't have any money coming in. So bills aren't getting paid. So Rumble's not paid, and StreamYard's not paid. Because if you log in, you'll see there's a little red band. Would you like to update that card? It's like, yeah, I'd love to, but not happening. In fact, what little bit of money came in wasn't enough for Google to pay out. It's just sitting up on Google AdSense right now, waiting till next month.
That sucks.
On the 22nd. Yeah. Well, it was dead. We weren't getting any contributions, and we weren't getting any ad. For some reason, we're shadow banned over on YouTube, so we're not making as much money now off of the ads. So, well, I don't know what to say about it. I'm not complaining. It's just, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And of course, Lady V referring to me again as I prefer to be called a replicant as a Blade Runner fan, not a clone.
But we would like to point out that Deckard is not a replicant.
I am a biologically engineered robot.
Well,
they didn't have to replicate all your dickness, though, but they did.
Yep.
They made you a full jerk.
Well, I know that was this week. He just fired everybody. And that might be part of it. That might very well be part of what was happening while I was suddenly getting shadow banned over on Twitter.
He fired everybody again?
He fired their political team. The team was supposed to be making sure people were being fair and balanced. And he fired everybody
obviously
again.
Weren't.
Yeah, the minute you hire people for that, you got a problem. And I'm not sure he hired them, because he put somebody else in charge, and they may have been the ones that hired him. And then he stepped in as owner and went, yeah, that's not happening. This is why I bought it. Replicant Gary. There you go, Lady V. So Keith is being quiet. I'm assuming Martin.
Just listen.
You sent it to Keith through the proper black channels, right? To get him the.
No, I only know Latin channels.
No, I took care of it. I've got a side channel in the
black. You got the black channel. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Is it like BET?
Oh my God!
More like Jet magazine.
More like Jet or Ebony. You know what? When I was a kid, I read those magazines because all my friends were black, and so that was what they had around the house, and I'd read them. I was like,
yeah,
oh, look, it's the black version of Reader's Digest.
So inside, Gary's black because he grew up that way.
Pretty much.
Vic told Keith I was an adopted member of the black community. And I
checked the paperwork. It's official.
Are you sure you want to?
So you're black wearing white face.
White face.
Well, we had to kick one or two people out, but we figured, Gary, even trade.
Right.
You are talking in R2D2.
Yeah, no, I was just like, every other word my head would move right when it would come in.
Yeah.
But did you get your reservation? Because today is you're celebrating your mother's birthday. And this is her first birthday since she passed.
Yeah.
And where are you guys going?
Looks like we're going to go to her favorite place. One of her favorite places.
That place we went to for the that dinner.
Actually, no. Well,
No?
it's one of the places that catered the reception after.
Oh, Olive Garden.
And
That was
well,
Olive Garden, wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we'll be going there. You know,
I got to tell you something. Olive Garden has changed in a good way. They actually cleaned house and started from scratch, hiring new chefs to recreate their dishes, but recreate them in a way that actually tasted good. And so their dishes are amazing now.
yeah.
And you really feel like you're getting your money when you get the endless pots, even though I won't do that anymore. I haven't done that in years.
Hello, Penny. It's yeah, it'll it'll be good to see everybody. And
Are your brothers coming? Who's all coming?
for right now, only one of my brothers will be able to attend, but that's fine. You know,
I'm assuming Michael, or is it James?
it's Jay, and
Michael's probably on the road, and
yeah.
and your twin is probably stuck working.
Yeah, he's working. So that's fine, you know. But yeah. Anyway, as my mom would say, hey, I think it's time for the rest of the show. And I think we've had quite a few things pop up. There's what you told me when I talked to you, and I just found two more.
Did you find the article?
I didn't find that article, but I found 3 things that just make me shake my head. Now, given who the source is, you could take it with a grain of salt.
Giant freaking robot.
But let me just tell you something. If any of these are true, I'm just like, what do you got? What are you smoking? And how come you're not sharing with the rest of us? Because this is not cool. None of these announcements are cool. The first one is it looks like because the writer's strike is over, somebody has decided, oh, okay, we're going to go with They Live. Okay, we're going to go with this story first. Small screen, They Live rebooting the works with Matt Reeves directing. I don't need to read beyond that to tell you, on the one hand, it has been a long time since that movie's come out. But Matt Reeves, I'm sorry, I am not that impressed with a lot of what Matt Reeves has accomplished. Considering how he did a good job with the ape stuff. It was not bad at all. He did a really good job with that stuff. But again, I'm getting the feeling that this is another one of those things that he says that he's valued. And every time he tries to say that he's working on something that he values, he turns in an effort that is not his best effort. And by that I mean the Batman was ASS on delivery. That film was just dumb 7. I keep calling it that, and I've been enjoying a lot of people sharing that now. Dumb 7, but that's exactly what it is. It's 7 done with a Batman veneer, but done very badly. I'm not looking forward to his next Batman film. They Live is one of those films that it really, really needs to be done very well.
It's a cult classic.
Yes.
Which means it's got a huge cult following.
That's right.
Which means huge fan base. And
but there's also
you go fucking with John Carpenter.
Well, he'll take the money. I'm sure he'll take the money.
Look, he loves those paychecks. There's no question. He says it.
Yeah.
I love getting those paychecks.
Yeah.
Well,
I
think
my
problem with them rebooting this is, they're gonna lose the whole message, because this is why this movie's so relevant today, is because it portrays how the media treats its consumers.
Yeah.
Well, it isn't just the media, but I agree with you. Look, for my money, you really should not try to make this thing for over $100 million. I know that's kind of surprising and shocking to say, but there's almost no need to really make this for over $100 million, because if you know what you're doing, and with what they were able to accomplish on the movie The Creator, which was done for a lot less money than many people think.
Wasn't it 150?
I don't think it was done for that. I think it was done for a little less than that. Even less than 150, I think. But I think if you can make this movie for about 100 million tops, you'll do well for yourself. Anything over that, and you're running the risk of not getting back everything you've invested. Because again, as Gary just got through saying, it's a cult classic. It wasn't really a box office hit. So there's no reason to pour a lot of money into this. You just need a solid cast and a solid script, and the rest will take care of itself.
What they need to do is just shoot the same script. Don't change a goddamn thing. Look, Matt Reeves did some good stuff that I liked. I loved his re-adaptation of Let Me In, which was based on the Dutch film Let the Right One In. I liked the film Cloverfield. I am a fan of that. Loved what he did with Planet of the Apes. Past that, I don't give too much about what he does. The Batman movie was terrible. The only thing in there I thought was good was the Batmobile scene, with the penguin. That was the only part I liked. The rest of it was crap. And like you said, it's Seven. It's just remaking Seven. I'm going to do just like that dude did with Joker and adapt a classic movie. And no, what you did was you took stuff from that film and threw it in there like spaghetti. Mm-hmm. And you gave us two detectives who don't know how to detect. They don't do any detecting. Yeah. So anyway, but Matt Reeves is kind of an idiot when it comes to his writing. I got to be honest. So I'm not too excited about this at all. I saw this and I'm like, fuck you. I don't want it. Nobody asked for it, but that's something I kind of poke fun at some of my friends. Some of you guys know who I'm talking about. They'll go, well, nobody asked for that. And I'm like, well, nobody asked for the first Star Wars. Nobody asked for Star Trek when it was made. What's your point? And I always remind myself when I go, nobody asked for that. I remember, well, nobody asked for a lot of the stuff that we got that we love. So that's a really piss poor answer or response. What I am going to tell you is you've already got something that's good and it's got a built-in following. And you're going to make it in a way that's going to turn those people, your built-in audience, you're going to turn them off. And I guarantee you, they're going to make this overly political. John Carpenter did something. He was very clever. He's a liberal dude. John Carpenter's always been very liberal. And, but he would go at things that were concerning for anybody. Like with Escape from New York, that a police state gets created, a national police force. Well, we kind of had that with the FBI. And that always bothered me, that really we should have a better system through the Department of Justice where we don't have a federal police agency. It shouldn't exist. That the DOJ should work directly with each state and region, county, city, municipality, whatever, or district. So, but Escape from New York played off of that. This film was going against capitalism, which is ironic because he wants to make money. Filmmakers want to make money. So you're part of capitalism, but it does take a really good shot at the media and consumerism. And I think this movie doesn't need to be remade because it's just as relevant today as it was when it came out. Not to mention, it has one of the longest fistfights in Hollywood history.
Yep.
Between Keith David and Roddy Piper, who I'm a big fan of Roddy Piper, man. Big fan. Before he came in that movie, I was already a fan of his because of wrestling.
The best fight over absolutely nothing.
Yeah, putting on glasses
putting
to see
on
something.
The sunglasses.
I need you to see something. I don't want to see it. It's like a
but
husband
that
and wife
again,
fighting over
that's also a message within itself, you know. To
Yeah.
get back to what I had said earlier about the creator, that film was made for $80 million.
Really?
80. Yeah,
That
because of
much?
the way it was. Oh, I guess you guys didn't hear about the way it was shot. Gareth Edwards, the guy who actually originally directed a certain Star Wars movie that went very well, and then was told to sit down as he had the movie taken away from him. He has this thing about basically almost going guerrilla with a lot of his movies. This film was shot on location. They did not use any type of visual effects. They wanted to shoot this on location. So what he did was he took the cast and he shot the film himself. He tried to take as small a crew as he could get away with, and they would shoot guerrilla style in certain places, even places where they weren't supposed to be. And they would shoot what they needed and then use visual effects to enhance what they had.
Okay.
Not to build everything.
I like that. And I'm a big supporter because, you know, I have the Facebook page Guerrilla Filmmaking, because almost everything I've ever shot as a filmmaker was done guerrilla style. I would go out on the street before cops can arrive. I shoot everything and get the fuck out of there.
And that's it. And so he shot it, and then he had ILM take care of the really hard stuff, which was the stuff for the robots and they did a lot. And if you know what you want and you're not searching for a movie like Marvel or Star Wars, you can keep your costs down pretty low.
Well, and I want to talk about this, Keith. This is important because you and I have talked ad nauseum about keeping budgets under, you know, at 50 to 60 million is what you have agreed upon. That and here's the problem. Okay, now the box office for this movie, They Live itself, was 14 million. There and about. I think that's what's on Box Office Mojo. It might be 13 million. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at it in a few days since the article came out. And the budget for the film, was between 3 and 4 million. Now you look at that and you go, you shot that for 3 to 4 million, 1980s bucks. Okay, what does that mean? That means it's with inflation and devaluation, it's 2.7 times that amount. So let's open up my calculator real quick. If that film were made today, what they're saying is it would cost 2.7 times $4 million equals $10,800,000 is what They Live should be able to be made for today. But the problem is the cost of everything with inflation, Hollywood inflation in particular, using unions. And it's next to impossible because you think to yourself, right? Because they had unions in, right? So therefore, it should only cost them to make this film for $11 million. But it doesn't. This film, to remake this film exactly the way it was made back then, would still be close to 40 to 50 million. Even with the minimal effects that were in there, how they pulled it off.
And you were right, Gary. The film was budgeted at $3 million. It made 13.
It made 13. So I was right in the ballpark.
Well, so it made its money back. So.
Oh, it made its money back. There's no question about it. But we never saw a sequel from it. And I never understood that because this was a good film. And I thought it deserved a sequel. Even if Roddy's dead, it deserved a sequel.
Yeah, and that's what they could have done with this new movie. It kind of made a sequel. Look, in my opinion, what was done with the creator could easily be done for They Live. If you shoot it guerrilla style, small crew, just your actors, your director, who's also your cinematographer, and a small crew behind the scenes, you could shoot this easily because of the way that They Live was shot. there's a lot of street level scenes. I mean, yeah, there's also some visual effects mixed in with it, but if you do it that way, you save a lot of money. You could probably get this film down to almost 50 million.
But here's
give or take.
Thing. Here's the thing that's rough, and you and I both worked on films, and when you're shooting a film, even an independent film, you have what's referred to as independent SAG. You have unions who will still work with you. But here's what people don't understand is that you cannot use, like, I remember I got Bruce Campbell to agree to do something with us. Okay. And the problem was that he's SAG.
Yeah.
So we could only use SAG. We couldn't use indie SAG. And I'm like, shit. So I talked to him about it at the time, and he said that he could go uncredited in the film. And therefore we could skip the whole thing and use indie SAG or just even use non-union actors, period.
Yeah.
And this is back in 2005, I think it was. And this was when I started learning why budgets are insane. And it's not that I hate unions, but I'm not a union fan. I never have been, because the union is the one that really makes out financially on these projects. It's not really the people that work for the unions. It's the union. It benefits wholly off of what's going on. That's why I don't like unions. If unions were nonprofit, they'd go away. They would go the fuck away.
I think the big problem with the unions is you need to keep them out of politics.
Well, that's obvious. But this film, again, if they do this reboot, they're going to over politicize it, which goes against what Carpenter was trying to do, because Carpenter wanted everybody to want to see his film. When he made a movie, he wanted everybody across the spectrum to see his movies. So he made it enjoyable, fun, exciting.
It's like Michael Jordan said, even Republicans buy tennis shoes.
Yeah. Fucking people, man. You get these people and they just want to be exclusive with everything. And it turns half your audience off. And we've got a problem today. Again, I'm going to bring up what you and I've been talking about for a while, is what's doing damage to the cinema is increasing ticket prices. And when these these companies, the releasing companies, the distributors, talk about how much money they made off that film. You look at Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1990 compared to this one that came out this year. Well, the one that came out on the first week and weekend made what was it, 30 million. 1990. That's $1990. Okay, and then you've got the new one makes 45 first weekend. And you know what? More people saw the first movie in 1990 than saw the new one.
Yeah, you're not supposed
to that's an embarrassment.
Like those numbers.
Who made how much, but how many people went to the movie theater?
This is why you and I like watching Valiant Renegade, because he talks about something that you and I are both engaged in, which is, we understand, you and I understand those numbers, what they really mean.
Yeah.
Most people just see it and go, they made a profit. Did they really? No, they didn't. Star Wars has not gotten into the black yet. Nothing from Lucasfilm has put them into black. Disney has lost, what was it, over $1 billion? $2 billion?
Give or take. Yeah,
they've lost
give or take.
between $1 and $2 billion on Star Wars. That's a complete loss for everything. Oh, well, just made money. It's like, shut up, idiot. You and I have lost friends over this because we got so tired of them not understanding. You're not understanding what those numbers really mean. When you see $45 million for the first weekend for Teenage Ninja fucking retards.
Okay.
And you wonder why we're canceled.
Yeah.
I think that what did that equal out to? Was it like 2 million people seeing the movie? I think that was what it came out to when I did the math. I'm like, 2 million people. That's nothing. That's horrible.
Yeah.
But that's what Hollywood is facing, and they're not seeing it. They're afraid to talk about it. You want to get more people's butts in seats? Drop those ticket prices. Make it to where people who have shitty pay can afford to go see a movie twice a month. They can't do that right now. People who work average jobs can't afford to go to the movies twice a month. They can't.
Yep.
And especially when the quality of what you're giving them is not that good either, on top of everything else. I mean, it'd be different if, with the increase in production budget, that you were getting a higher quality of film, and you're not. And in the case
this is why people need to watch Valiant Renegade.
Yes.
If you're not watching,
in the case of a film like, say, let me pick one out of my backside, The Marvels. That film.
You mean out of your ass?
Did Keith just backdoor you, Gary?
Oh, yes, he did.
Wow.
In the case of getting away from the back door.
In the case of that particular production, we're definitely looking at a film that is not going to make what it needs to make. I mean, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that film is basically just not going to do very much at the box office.
And this is why, by the way, you and I've talked about this too, that video on demand needs to be included into box office. Because they've changed how films are released onto video on demand and home video. And they need to include that in there. And they don't do it. And this is where they use mob tactics in Hollywood. And they've done it for a long time. And that's how movies like Men in Black still says, we haven't made a dime off that first movie. You liars.
Right.
That's Sony, Columbia. Come on, man. They are so scummy over there doing that shit.
Come on, man.
You know? We know that they've made money and they're not wanting to pay out residuals is what it is.
Yep.
And it's a crooked way of doing things. It's a mobster thing to do. And but video on demand and home box office needs to be included in well, I say home box, I mean home release, home video needs to be included in the box office tallies on Box Office Mojo. It needs to be a change. We need to push for this. And I say that over the next year, you and I do a concerted effort to get others, that's streamers, that understand this, that because cinema is changing, whether you like it or not. And soon, the only movies you're going to be going to see in theaters, if they don't make a change, are big spectacle pictures. You will never go see another, comedy, just a basic comedy, just your classic indie comedy. You won't see those in theaters except for special theaters. Like here in Springfield, we have the Moxie, which is an indie theater.
Yeah.
And they show nothing but indie films. And I love that about them. And back in Illinois, when I was, going to University of Illinois and working at the Octopus magazine as a critic, we had 2 local indie theaters. They're closed now. They all went out of business. In fact, one of the other theaters I went to, Virginia, went out of business completely. It's now a museum. Theaters are dying. And I don't know what we're going to do outside of what I just said, dropping ticket prices to save them. Anybody else have any thoughts on that? Is there another way to save cinema?
Not without dropping production cost. I mean,
well, that's it. That's movies under 50 million. You can afford to drop ticket prices if you keep it right around 50 million. Don't go over 60. And I got to tell you, unless it's a spectacle film, no film should be costing over 50, 60 million.
That's another thing we keep saying, though, that people get lazy and just turn to CGI whenever and don't go for models and practical effects anymore. That would reduce costs tremendously.
Exactly. Now, this movie Creator was you said the budget was 80 million?
Yes.
I'm going to bet that 30 million of that was straight up ILM, right?
Oh, I'm sure.
Probably. I mean, again, given the way that Gareth Edwards said that he shot the film, you use what you have, and you use all these beautiful places rather than trying to use visual effects to recreate stuff within a studio environment. you go to where all these places are, so that really you enhance what is already there rather than having to build everything in a computer. And by doing that, oh, go ahead.
There's always the volume.
But that's part of what I think Gareth Edwards was talking about. There's no reason to just even use the volume. You can actually go to these places and use it and have your actors reacting to a real place, a real environment, so that really all you're doing is enhancing what is already there rather than having to build everything in the computer. When you use the volume, what you're doing is that you're using a combination of footage that you shot to put up there, but also, depending on what kind of movie you're talking about, even enhancing that footage, let alone using CGI and other technology.
Well, there's so many limitations. And don't forget, there are limitations to using volume. If you go into the volume, you're limited to the area you're in. And that's the problem with it. And that's why it has a very specific look. And you can always tell when you're watching something, it looks like it was shot in volume. In fact, I was shocked when I watched that, what was it, 1888 series that we watched, Anima?
With the boat?
89?
Yeah, I swore up and down that was volume.
1889, yeah.
1899.
1899, yeah.
So I looked at that and I thought for sure that was shot in volume, but they actually shot green screen. And I was like, wow, it really had the feel because everything felt so isolated and closed in. And I was like, they may as well have shot that on volume the way they shot it because it felt like the volume.
Oh, they shot it on volume.
They did not.
I saw
I saw the making of it too. They used a lot of green screen. Shots that I thought were in the volume were not. And they were shot like they were in the volume, and they were not. So let me add this. And Keith, you were wanting to talk about this?
Yeah, that's one of 2 films that they are redoing. Really, now 3 films that we're talking about.
I got to tell you something. I was so disappointed with the last remake, and I'm a big Keanu fan. It felt like it just completely missed the point. And it didn't have any excitement to it. It droned on and on and on and on. And it didn't feel like it was trying to get anywhere. And what's amazing is time was of the essence in this story, and you never felt like anybody was really fucking rushing.
Yep.
Trying to save the world. And it failed. And that's why it did terrible. It flopped. I don't blame Keanu for that. I blame the direction and editing on that. So if they want to remake The Day the Earth Stood Still, I think it really fits today with everything that's happening, with the fact that we know they're there. We now know they're there. The Department of Defense says, yeah, they're here. We don't know what these things are, if they're extra dimensional or extraterrestrial. We don't know what they are, but they are here. So they've been interacting with us for at least, we know, 75, 80 years. But we have records going back centuries with artwork and written stories from the Agita Devata, whatever that fucking Indian text is.
The Inagata Devita.
Inagata Devita.
So it was just a UFO.
What I really like about that is that joke was in the back of my head, and I didn't want to say it, and you did it. And I'm like, thank you, John. I didn't want to make a joke. Inagata Devita. Anyway, we know they're there. We know they're there. And I do the UFO thing with Don Ecker, and I just I've been baptized since I was a kid in ufology, and with Chariots of the Gods, had that read to me when I was like 7, 8 years old. 7. I was 7 when my dad read it to me. Then I began reading it. He gave me the book, and I got to read it and had it for years. I love that book. And so Day the Earth Stood Still, to me, is a fitting story to do today. Because even though I love the original film, Gort, Klaatu, Nikto, Baradas, you know.
Sorry.
Yeah, or as Bruce would go, Klaatu, Nikto. There, I said it. I said the words.
Barada. Yep.
But I got to tell you, you know, look, people love Chris Pratt. They love him. The media hates him. Established critics hate him. And I bet you a lot of people in Hollywood fucking hate him. But he makes money, man.
I want to see who's writing it first.
Average people love this guy. I think that's very important. I think that's very important. But I'm going to tell you something I like about Chris Pratt. He has a tendency of, he has sway over who gets to write. And I love that. He's gotten that kind of power. And so, I don't know. I got to tell you, this one doesn't bug me. The other one, I'm not happy about that. Fuck that. You know, John Carpenter, leave this shit alone.
My thing with this is that I believe Chris Pratt to be a talented guy. Okay. But this is definitely going to be a different kind of performance. So unless you're going to radically rewrite who Klaatu is and the kind of what his actual duty within the confines of the story is, then
because all he was and all he should be is a duly authorized representative of the Federation. Yeah. That's all he is.
Making him an action guy to do all the action stuff is a complete misrepresentation of what the character represents. He is a duly authorized, designated person he's a messenger is what he is. That's it. He's not a superhero. He's not here to save us. He's actually here to judge us. He is the judge, and ultimately he will be making the determination of how we should be seen by everyone not here. And so that calls for a different kind of performance. While I love Chris Pratt as a performer, this is really going to test his abilities to be able to just
if he can actually act.
I think he can, but it's going to call for some different techniques and muscles that he hasn't really had a chance to work out, you know?
Yes, there's not going to be any dance-offs for this movie. This is a straightforward story of an alien who comes to Earth to tell them, change your ways right now, or we will destroy you.
Klaatu needs to be played by someone with a lot more gravitas. I love Chris. I agree. I love Chris Pratt, but maybe someone like Cillian Murphy would actually make a better.
Well, this
Klaatu.
comes.
Mads Mikkelsen.
Look, if he's already cast, that's wishing in one hand and shitting in the other.
I know.
Yeah.
So
that's what fan casting is all about.
This is what we've got. So if this is what we're going to get, then let's hope they get it right, and let's hope he does his job to be something more than an action comical heroic hero character. Heroic hero. Welcome to the Department of Redundancy Department. Okay.
Yeah.
I think we all can agree that we like Chris Pratt a lot. So
I do.
One of those.
Apparently, Lady D doesn't. I think it was Lady D that made fun of him a minute ago.
I just think we need to get. I do agree. We need to give him a chance, but I'm just saying that based on what the story was, and again, they tried to. I think they overcompensated going a different direction for the version with Keanu Reeves by making him too much of an alien. You know, he needs to be someone who is clearly humanoid, someone who, if you're going to send someone to interact with us, and given how we are as a species, you know it's going to freak us all out. So you want someone that's at least capable of seeming like they could be not so much empathetic, but empathic, I should say. But they need to be someone who we can at least seemingly have something in common with, so that we could really and truly understand and treat with gravitas what they have to say and treat it seriously enough to react in the way that we should. And I don't know if Chris Pratt's that guy, but I'm willing to give him the chance.
I have a
Gary,
big
you're right.
concern. I have a big concern they're going to change it and make it climate related.
Well, the minute they do, it's going to fail.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they did with the last movie. And I also have a feeling they're going to do big action scenes with him where he's going to save people. And it's like that goes against who he is.
Well, there is the element in the original film. There is action in there, but the action is done in a very diminished way because Michael Rennie was not an action star. He was a thespian.
Yeah.
And Michael Rennie was a great actor. But today, like I said, I've already brought this up. Films need to be shot with the way that the cinema has evolved to be spectacle pictures. So automatically, they're going to have to make this a big budget epic film. And that means you're going to have action. And the action in this one, if they're going to have it in there, needs to be him trying to get to point B and somebody trying to stop him and not understanding what it is that he's doing, or a misunderstanding of what he's doing because of the initial actions he takes at the beginning. But when he changes, because that's what happened in the original story, look, this is very simple. And I do love it that in the original film, at noon around the world, London time or whatever, everything got turned off. Clocks stopped. Anything that was mechanical stopped for, I can't remember how long it was. It's been a while since in the movie. And we did that. You've been warned. Whereas in the second film, it became, maybe we can save humanity. Humanity is already on a destructive course with our species. We're going to destroy them. You have proven to be, and this is the thing that bugs me is, it's just, I get so exhausted with that. So on this one, clearly they're going to have to go with some sort of misunderstanding because I am sick to death. Tell me if you guys are in the ballpark with me of soldiers and the government always being the bad guys, completely utter fucking shitheels. And not that there aren't bad people there, but look, man, a bulk of the people in the military and a bulk of the people in law enforcement aren't fucking assholes. They're not dicks. Like that shit that happened in Canada when they rode horses over those protesters during the truck thing. Somebody tagged me the other day with that photo and went, "Oh, I remember that shit." Those cops, those are jackboots. Those aren't real cops. Any police officer, law enforcement officer who is sworn to uphold the law, who goes out there and does the government's bidding to hurt the citizens they're sworn to protect, they're not cops anymore. They cease being cops. And so I would like to see something that's more in line with, at the end of the film, the military is like, "Oh, that's what you're doing." And then then somebody is helping him trying to get this done. And of course, the original film, there's the love interest because he kind of falls in love with the human woman.
You think?
And
I interpret it more as what hers. I think I interpret it more as on him. Well, I interpreted more of what she was feeling being reflected off of that,
Maybe.
and
well, isn't that what love is?
No.
Perception. Yeah. Love is a lot of times when you fall in love with somebody, you fall in love with what you perceive them as, your own reflections on them.
And again, we don't really, we never got into what Klaatu actually was. We didn't actually know if he truly was.
He was a humanoid, but we don't know if he's human. He's humanoid.
Yes.
I
He's humanoid.
always felt like what I always wanted, if I were to ever do a rewrite of it, I would have made him take on a human form of somebody that was important to that other person.
Oh, you mean like
Starman?
This other movie.
I love that about Starman.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no. That's our next story.
That's
Michael B. Jordan.
What that is.
Michael B. Jordan taking on the lead role of the reboot and remake of Starman.
Is that in the private chat? Which one is that?
Yeah. So we have.
Is that the second one or the third one?
That's the second one.
All right.
3 movies that are going to be remade that shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Right.
Starman again. Look, it's you've got one movie that's damn near what is it?
Perfect.
60 years old, 60, 70 years old. You know, Day the Earth Stood Still. You can remake that one comfortably. You take a movie from the 80s. I don't like that.
72 years old.
Yeah, 72 years old. You can remake that comfortably. I don't think this is a good idea at all. Let me share the screen here.
Yeah, but they better leave their hands off When Worlds Collide, or I'm going to be mad.
Well.
So one of the best 80s sci-fi movies is getting remade with Michael B. Jordan. This is a turnoff to me. This goes right into the same category. Again, it's another John Carpenter film.
Yeah.
Leave it the fuck alone. His film still stands. Whether you like the effects or not.
That's a very personal film for him, having Starman. And
yeah.
Jeff Bridges
is great in that. Karen Allen,
he acts
great flick.
Well, I think he was nominated for an Academy Award for that performance. He acted his ass off in that movie. And I just think that if you're going to try to remake that, you forget about the visual effects. You better bring it as far as acting goes. And I'm not saying Michael B. Jordan can't do it. He's got the chops. But that script better be everything and then some when it comes to what all of the actors, because you can't just lay this just on Michael B. Jordan. Everybody in that cast better bring their A game, or else this movie will not work out. You cannot do what you did before. Because look, everybody in John Carpenter's original version of it did exactly what they had to do. But I mean, it was really a showcase, really, for Jeff Bridges.
As I recall, wasn't that one of Richard Jekyll's last films before he died? Yes, I think that was one of his last ones. It just popped into my head. But you know, this is the problem I have: is we hear reboot, remake, remake, and all I think of is this line:
"You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means."
Should be readaptation.
Yeah, readaptation or continuation, because they kept referring to the new Indiana Jones film as a reboot. Remember that?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Indy was a reboot. They kept referring to it as a reboot, and I'm like, you people are using a word incorrectly.
Yeah,
completely and utterly incorrectly.
I would be more in favor of this if this were a continuation of the story many years later. With it, because again, it's a different
coming
age,
back or something.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah, for another look at humanity to see how far they've come. That to me, then I'm ready for.
Yeah.
You know, but if you're gonna remake it, no. No. And again, it's nothing against Michael B. Jordan, because as far as I'm concerned, you know, the guy is phenomenal.
He's a talented actor.
I think this is beneath him in many ways. I would like to see Michael B. Jordan do something else. I think
any actor who will allow an actual fighter to punch him in the head in order to get the shot to look good has got my respect. And he did that with the Clubber Lang characters.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit, he let him fucking hit him in the head.
Wow.
Stallone would do that shit. Stallone did that shit.
Oh, yeah.
Damn near killed him. Killed him.
He went to the hospital for 3 days.
Yeah, Dolph Lundgren, he's like, why don't you go ahead and really tag me in the rib? And he hit him and fucking tore his aorta to his heart.
Don Ranger Power? Are you kidding me?
You kidding
me?
I hope that's the real.
You better
be
kidding.
I saw that.
Oh,
you
shit.
did?
Yes.
I'm done.
I missed the J.J. Abrams, but I saw that they're rebooting. They want to reboot Kroll.
We need to start a club and make it an international club. The We Hate J.J. Abrams Club. Just go away.
And his acolytes. All of his acolytes need to go with him.
Yeah, you and your friends.
I mean, all of his acolytes need to go. They
my God.
all need to go.
Tim, on F Movies, that movie just got released on F Movies.
No way.
It's on F Movies. Go find a movie with Sylvester Stallone, click on his name, and that movie will pop up. It's called
I want to watch a movie and
The
see
Italian Stallion.
Sylvester Stallone's junk.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch it. I don't care. But I think it's funny because I saw it in the updates because I get an update whenever they add a new film. And I'm like, oh, shit, what?
A question for you, Gary. You wouldn't watch that, but how about if it was an adult movie with Arnold?
No.
No.
I have no doubts that Arnold probably did some home movies. And if they made him available, I would not watch them because I idolize that guy so much. It would freak me out.
Well, Arnold made Fubar, and you're not watching it because it's bad.
Oh my God, that show is so terrible.
It was.
Like, who wrote? Did they actually have writers, or did they just tell them to do stuff on camera?
That's what it looks like, right?
Dialogue. It's so bad.
Well, speaking of, we're talking about movies. Netflix mailed out today its last DVDs.
Wow.
And the people that get them, they get to keep them.
It's the end of an era.
Yeah.
Hey, Martin, I have a question for you. Is our merch spot updated to where it's got the music that won't get us nabbed by YouTube again?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because we'll be playing that here in about 3 minutes. Well, 2.5. So, look, I love Michael B. Jordan. I really do. I think he's a good actor, man.
The guy is soft.
This is not a good idea. This is bad. If you want to recreate something that was made by John Carpenter, I mean, I don't know about you guys. I hated when they made the remake of The Fog, too. Because it lost everything that was great about it. And I'm like, that movie is great.
Bush.
Oh, Bush is here. Gosh. Bush knows I kind of poked fun at him earlier today. Because Brian, our good friend Brian, put up a happy birthday for Ian McShane and posted an image from Space 1999, an episode. The Force of Life was the name of the episode. Season 1, I think it was one of the early episodes, right, Keith? Force of Life?
Yeah, I think so.
And here, hold on. I found it. Here's the post. Happy birthday to wonderful Ian McShane, seen here as an Anton Zorov in the 1975 episode Space Night Force of Life, one of my favorite episodes. And of course, I loved and shared that. And then Bush jumps in and goes, Life Force is better.
Wow.
For your average person, they're like, what the fuck? What does that even mean? It's just, are you saying something against Ian McShane's birthday? What do you? But immediately I looked at it, and the first thing I thought as I read that was, Ian McShane isn't in Life Force. And and then it went, oh, Force of Life Force. It's the same story thematically. Okay, I got it. And so then I had to poke fun at him, and I wrote, Brian's post was about Ian McShane's birthday. Many people might not understand your tangential statement without context. Even Anima didn't understand. Luckily, I was there to explain that you were referencing the thematic similarities between the episode and Life Force 1985.
Mansplaining.
Nerds.
Again, Martin, no, it's not. It's Gary.
There's no such thing as
things.
mansplaining. There's no such thing as mansplaining.
He's teaching me things, and I had no idea that movie existed, so I needed to be told that it does.
That is mansplaining.
Yeah, and it's a movie you need to see. Patrick Stewart almost kill Charles Manson.
What?
Yeah, Patrick Stewart almost kisses, or I should say Captain Picard almost kisses Charles Manson.
Okay. I need to see that.
Okay, again, no,
I
I
need
don't
to
know.
deal with the zoo.
Keith, please tell me you understood what I just said.
Yes. The actor
Steve Railsback is famous for playing Charles Manson in Helter Skelter.
Too.
Yep.
So, and the female vampire has taken over Patrick Stewart's body and starts to make out with him. And it's just really, really like, no. I remember sitting there watching in the theater. I'm like, oh, no, please, no. Yes, the naked space vampire. So Bush knows when I poke fun at him, I do it because I love him.
And remember, this is only a few months after Patrick Stewart had been seen in Dune.
Yeah, that was it. All he was known before that was London Stage,
Excalibur,
and I was gonna say, come on, he was best known from that point only for the London Stage, from British television, and 2 films, Excalibur, and what was the other one?
Life Force.
You just said it, Dune.
Yeah.
Oh, Dune. Yes. But also
is here with this pair of wisdom.
Oh, jeez.
Confusion.
This is why we're shadow banned.
Yeah. Wow.
So, but this whole thing with the remaking of They Live, I wouldn't even know if it hadn't been for Tom. Tom posted it, and I'm like, what? Come on, man, really? And I went and looked and went, yep, it's real. At least the story is. You never know. With small screen and giant freaking robot, you've got a 90% chance it's bullshit. Just made up stuff. Because I've always said, look, the only thing worse than giant freaking robot is We Got This Covered. And they have the same staff meetings in the morning where they have a giant cork board. And on the cork board is a bunch of Post-it notes with ideas for headlines for that day. And then they throw darts at the notes, and the darts that get hit are the ones they go with for that day. I guarantee you it's how they do it, because they're fucking idiots.
That and deciding who's gonna be kissing Kurtzman Trek's backside that day. So
the only thing that We Got This Covered would get right is when they would cover Mikey Sutton. Because Mikey, remember that? But they would take one single scoop by Mikey Sutton and split it into 3 stories and make so much money off of Mikey Sutton. They made a fortune off of him. They really did. I miss Mikey.
Yeah, it's time for a break.
Is it our time? It is. It is time for that wonderful video. So go to our merch store. Somebody's already bought some. So go buy
Show
some
that
stuff.
beautiful bean footage.
Yeah, and then you need to share photos of us in your shirts.
Oh, yeah.
With them down, not up.
Oh, my God. Don't give them...
One day we'll make enough money to where I can get those pectoral implants I always wanted.
Those are called fake boobs.
By the way, Anna and I watched the latest episode of Archer, and it's a little more tolerable because I don't know what they're thinking. The show's been canceled. Okay, this is their final season. They introduce a new character who is the single most annoying, unfunny person. She's a terrible character, Zara. Just a terrible character.
They say they're doing it because they had to after Mallory had to leave because the actress died. They didn't have to. They have 7 main characters who are perfectly capable of carrying the show. Nobody needed that woke ass female new addition. No one.
And
the best episode is the one where she's on vacation.
Yeah, she's like, well, I'm going on vacation, mates. And then fucks off and isn't there for the whole show. And I'm like, finally, got a breather.
It was fun. It was Archer again. Except they don't do the phrasing thing anymore. But.
And the other thing that pisses me off is Lana keeps getting left behind, staying back to work at the company. And some of the characters just aren't being utilized correctly anymore, and it makes it feel like the writing has changed for this final season, and I don't like that.
Two characters where we don't know the family story. They could do that. There's no need for a new character to fill.
My hope is that we'll still get a movie, but they need to kill off that character. She is terrible.
Oh,
and I thought, am I the only one? And I went and I did a look, and there's a lot of hate for that character out there. A lot. There's a whole subreddit section all about hating her. What a terrible character.
This is Archer. This is like the last series that needs to go woke.
You're an ist and a phobe if you don't like the new character, you know.
Yeah,
what?
Whatever. Yeah.
Shut up, John.
For those people, I know John doesn't believe it, but for people who actually think like that, they can go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
Just ridiculous. But okay, so we got this third story from Giant Freaking Robot. Giant Robot. I hate him so much. Star Trek series fans begged for no longer possible. Look, I'm with Doomcock on this. That the member berries were nice, but it still wasn't a good show. It was badly written. It still wasn't Star Trek, and it was just nice to see the characters. Star Trek: The Motion Picture, the characters didn't feel right, but was absolutely a Star Trek show. That was a great sci-fi story. It was basically the episode The Changeling, which was an original TOS show episode, season 1. Great episode. Remember that one? Where a satellite was shot into space, long-range space probe, and it was altered by an intelligence and then came back looking for its creator.
Yeah, I love that episode.
And because James T.
floating around the Enterprise.
Yep, and it's looking for its creator, Kirk something, but it sees Captain Kirk and misunderstands and thinks that he's the creator. Yep. And then originally in the script, Spock was the one who uses logic against it. But Shatner understood that this is a Western in space, and I'm the guy in charge of the wagon train. And
sure.
It needs to be me that does that. The fans need that. He wanted the show to be successful, and the cast hated that. It's like, you're lucky Shatner did what he did, because the show probably wouldn't have lasted if he hadn't done things. As for those changes.
57 years.
And
but I did not mind Picard season 3. It was definitely a step.
No, I enjoyed parts of it.
First 2 seasons. Personally, if you're going to go further with any Kurtzman track, this to me is better than a lot of Kurtzman's personal ideas that he's had. Because look, we all found out since then that Kurtzman really, really, really hates all of you guys out there who love Picard season 3. He hates every single one of you, and he hates Terry Metalis the most. And so this news only makes Kurtzman happy.
And my interest in there being an ongoing show ended at the end of next to last episode because they killed the character I wanted to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
the captain. He was fucking cool.
Sure.
That guy was funny.
Yeah.
He just cracked me. I fucking love this guy. He's a smart ass. And they kill him. I'm like, oh, that's it. I'm out. I'm not interested in, I'm tired of the Force is female, and I definitely don't. I'm sick to death of the Federation being female, all female. You go on the bridge on Stranger Things, the very first scene on the bridge.
You mean
one? And the entire bridge crew they show is female.
Strange New Worlds, yeah, that sucked.
I just immediately I was like, the fuck? Even the armed security officer? Jesus Christ!
And they keep doing that girl power thing. It's just annoying.
It's
again, CBS. They understand.
You put too much salt in the food, you ruin it.
Yeah,
you ruin it, Brian. Ruin it.
Ruin.
They already have been discussing how to get beyond this, and it looks like the only way to do it is to amputate.
So absolutely, you have to amputate Alex Kurtzman from Star Trek. Not. I'm not saying any violence. I'm saying,
yeah, but I
he
mean,
needs to be amputated from Star Trek.
you got to amputate his
Acura
ideas.
Goldsman too. Got to go. Acura Goldsman.
No, it's all got to go.
I guess
like what Steve said. Oh, go ahead.
I guess suggesting using a chainsaw is probably a step too far.
Too far.
A little bit.
Too far, my friend. Too far.
But you got to, what you have to do, and what CBS, what they eventually figured in their meeting when they were talking about this, was that they were going to use their jump off point for any new material to be post Nemesis. So if you jump 20 years after the events of Nemesis, that's where they're going to be. And for all of you out there that are thinking of these different ways that they could use this, no, it's all got to go. Anything that relates back to Kurtzman can then claim and or get paid for. So that means all of the story beats, the Riker's having a son and a daughter.
It's the same problem that we had so far, because one of the reasons why they started skipping classic Trek was because he had to pay that percentage.
Yeah. So if you want to get rid of it,
or the ships look right.
Yeah, it's all got to go. Now, for me, that's a good thing, because now we'll get back to a normal-sized Enterprise. We'll go back to uniforms that'll be
bridges that make sense.
We'll be going back to uniforms that'll be actual offshoots of the uniforms they had when they were on Nemesis as a movie.
It's my favorite thing, by the way, Keith, that Doomcock said was, buy a fucking light bulb for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Gamma correction. Use it.
Use it.
And that also means no child for Picard, none of that stuff. It all goes. And
I concur with that.
They're willing to do that, but it was going to require a force majeure. And I personally think that part of the reason why the whole thing stopped, why the writers and everybody just came together, is partially that a lot of writers realized that they were going to be out of jobs if they had stayed out on strike any longer. Once force majeure was in effect,
there's still a good chance that the damage is irreparable at this point. There really is a good chance. Once again,
well, as far as the season,
during the coup, the damage done to Hollywood is permanent. And you and I talked about that it changed the landscape of how we're going to see films going into the future. But now they've hit and hurt other forms of entertainment. And it's just not good. It's not good. Yeah. By the way, I like this by Bush. He says, being rude and unprofessional is not strength. Insubordination is not virtuous. This is not Star Trek. Completely agree. Also, if you're on the helm or weapons, keep facing forward. Mm-hmm. You know, Chekhov and Sulu, as well as the other crew members that were at the helm, rarely turned from their job because it was their fucking job. They were told to do their job.
Yeah.
They would talk, they'd tilt their head, or they would look up and they would say whatever they're going to say loud enough to where the person behind them would hear them, which is what you would do on a real crew. I hate that this helmsman,
if you're driving your car,
female, what's her name? The helmsman on Strange New Worlds is a terrible character. She is terrible at her job.
Khan's granddaughter?
No, the one with the shaved side of her head. The rape.
She's terrible.
Not Khan's granddaughter?
No, it's the Hispanic young lady. I can't think of her name. And
I have no idea.
She's one of the checkbox characters, and she's
or
Ortiz or something like that. She's a terrible character, terribly written, terribly acted. She's a horrible actor. But anyway, let me get back to this other thing I saw. Don said, Pop Culture Minefield, although I honestly thought that Power Rangers Cosmic Fury was a bit better than most of the current Star Trek shows. No offense. No. I get what you're saying.
The showrunner of that runs Power Rangers now is is someone that says he hates Power Rangers and Super Sentai, and that's why they're changing it for Cosmic Fury.
Yeah, I think Don mentioned that in a previous comment. I thought I saw something about that.
He didn't say hate.
Also,
he said that he didn't like any of those shows.
Now, I'm going to tell you something. I'm surprised they brought Ro back at all, because Ro, the actor, killed her career doing what she did. They created that character for her, and then she shit on it. And so I don't know. I was kind of glad, but it was kind of weird killing her off so quickly. But Shelby, I got to tell you, that's Brian Dennehy's daughter. You know Brian Dennehy from FX, the movies, and great actor. Big blockhead. He had a giant head. His head was 18. Most people are like between a 7 and 8 inch head. This is like 18 inch head. He has this gigantic cranium, like a wood barrel for a head. And she was a weird. Huh? She was a weird looking person. The actress, Dennehy's daughter, and I didn't like her. I thought she was snotty as a character.
Well,
her character was snotty,
that's
and I didn't like that. I think she should have been less officious and been more officer-like. I think she would have been a better character if she'd been played more like a real military officer. But instead, it's more like she's just sort of shitting on Riker. And Riker was like one of the most beloved characters outside of Data. He was one of the most beloved characters on Star Trek: Next Generation. And fucking shit on Riker, man. You're not getting any fans for that. And so seeing her come back, I wasn't too excited, but she was actually good. But one fucking major scene, it's like, and then it's over. Again, killed. Well, then they hinted that maybe she wasn't killed. Is what I read recently, and I'm like, if she was in that ship and what happened, she's dead as shit.
Did she? They're probably going to say, "Oh, she beamed out."
They're going to say, "Oh no, she Game of Throned it because she didn't die on camera." You don't die on camera, you're not dead.
What they're going to say is somehow Shelby has returned.
If they can do that, then Shaw or whatever his name is needs to come back.
Shaw,
Captain Shaw. He was fucking awesome. He was absolutely the best new character Star Trek under Kurtzman created. The rest of them suck. Well, I will say I liked what's his name until he became the bad guy with Discovery.
Lorca.
Lorca. Lorca was great, but I sat there with Travis and a bunch of people. I said, he's going to be the bad guy. You watch. He's too cool, too likable, too good at his job. They're going to make him the bad guy. You watch. Can't have a man doing that. Being good at their job. I had mixed feelings about Rose passing, to be honest, and Shelby's as well. It's okay to have mixed feelings about stuff. My feelings were mixed on it too.
I don't care about Shelby. Oh man, that was a blow.
Well, I didn't like Shelby. Well, in the original series, I didn't like her. Yeah, but then all of a sudden she's like all cool with Riker at the end. Best of Both Worlds Part 2. She's like, all cool with
Shelby
him.
was kind of an in-house antagonist.
Yep. I thought of all the Star Trek characters that were antagonistic, my favorite, and I really did like his character, was the one that took over the Enterprise.
Oh, yes.
From Beverly Hills Cop.
Jellicoe. No, not Jellicoe. Jellicoe. Yeah, Jellicoe.
Jellicoe.
Captain
I
Jellicoe.
liked his character. He was an asshole.
Yeah.
And I knew guys like him. I knew guys like him in the military, and I didn't like him, but I damn well would have followed him into combat.
That's right. He made the Enterprise run a little bit better, and because of that, Troy started
changed Deanna Troi.
More.
That's right. Because that was a plot point that was a problem with Deanna. Well, what's her name? Marina Sirtis. That if she's part of the crew, part of the complement, why is she walking around in haughty dresses and not dressed like she's part of Starfleet, wearing her rank? She has rank.
Viewership.
And well, it was my problem with what's her name too that played 7 of 9.
7 of 9, yeah.
Jerry Ryan. Yeah, I was just going to go there.
As I jokingly referred
Jerry Ryan have to wear that?
2 weeks ago, I made the joke 8 of 4.
Wow.
And only a math person would fucking laugh at that. I mean, wow. So, she's just, Jerry Ryan is better when she's in a uniform. I hated her walking around in that skin tight costume. And that's all because of what's his name, having a walking around with a boner all the time. The dude I don't like that went on to Orville.
Braga.
Yeah, Braga.
Brandon Braga.
Braga is the guy that was pushing for the females to always be wearing sexy outfits.
Well, they did that on Enterprise too.
That's him.
And as part of the female audience.
And as I recall, didn't he date her at one point?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
He's a horn dog. I don't like him. He doesn't respect women.
That was the makeup of his relationship. I mean, he had a partnership with Ronald D. Moore, and Ronald D. Moore was a Star Trek fan. And it causes me to think that a majority of what we liked about their collaborations is more about how much of a better writer Ronald D. Moore was. And he came in off the street. He was not a regular writer. He came in, got hired because of a script that they took from an audience member, technically, and got brought into the writer's room, which had to have chafed Braga's ass that somebody came in like that. But that's how much talent he has. Look at where Ronald D. Moore is now compared to Brandon Braga. Who's had the better career? Because since leaving Star Trek, Ronald D. Moore has been a showrunner on multiple programs. Every program he's done, he's been a showrunner on. And people have liked whatever he's put together, whether it's his revival of Battlestar Galactica, which was done, in my opinion, in a very respectful way.
3 good seasons.
Material.
3 really good seasons.
And then you have Outlander. I think it's Outlander. Yeah, Outlander.
Yeah, Outlander.
And then For All Mankind. And he
a
had
show
one
that
other show that
I think has does feminism right.
Yeah. And he's just that good. And you look at Brandon Braga, what's he's doing? Well, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. He's kicking around here and there. Oh, wait a minute. He got together with Seth MacFarlane, 2 of them.
Oh, I thought you were going to break into that song a little more, Monica in My Life, or whatever the song is called.
Oh, number 5.
A little bit of that. But I'm going to let's go take a step back though, and I'm glad we need to talk about those that have died. We got a little over a half hour left of the show. We have not talked about what we're going to talk about. I do want to point out though that the downfall of Star Trek began with Harve Bennett, and when you go back and look at what happened, the movie should have stuck to the classic crew. Star Trek Next Generation, if it was to continue, they should have got their 10 seasons. And if they were going to do another continuation of the Enterprise, it should have been a whole new crew with someone like Jellicoe, a handing over of a new crew. Doing the movies was a huge mistake for the Next Generation crew. And that's why, again, they suffered. The films didn't make as much money. The only one that really did well was First Contact.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of problems with that one because when you start messing with the past, you know what I mean? Start messing with the past. We saw what happened. Enterprise was the first big sinner of Star Trek on TV, of altering the past. And that's why, Keith and I have talked about it. And I love Keith's understanding of this is that because of certain events, Enterprise is actually not part of the past, which is why you never saw that Enterprise on any of the other ships before. Like,
especially Star Trek First Contact.
Yeah, Next Generation, you've got all the Enterprises there, and you don't see the NX-01.
01. Yeah, it's because of Star Trek First Contact. And they changed the past because they allowed everyone to interact.
Altering the timeline.
And altering the timeline enough to create differences. And even though they won in the end, they actually lost because now they've changed the past, because now you left people in the past that know that space and the future.
But that should have been a 2-part. That should have been a 2-part episode. And their biggest mistake on that one, and still stand by this, is the reason why there were problems was because Ronald D. Moore was writing a script that was too much like the show. That would have made more sense. And so he got fired from Star Trek First Contact. Now, I will point out that, again, why I brought up Harve Bennett. Harve Bennett was sick of the original crew from Star Trek. And that's why he sabotaged Star Trek V. And he wanted to move forward with the next generation.
He wanted to run everything. He wanted to run the show. He wanted to run the entire franchise.
Karma is a motherfucker. And if you go to look to see if Harve Bennett's name is mentioned anywhere on the Next Generation movies, that's karma coming back to, pay him back for what he did. They should have stuck with the original crew. Oh, hey, John is my girlfriend now.
I'm trying to change it.
I like your eyes. You're so sexy.
This is getting
I'm
kinky.
here.
Oh, no,
You're
not
supposed
anymore.
to be gay for me only.
Yeah, I'm gay for you.
He's making it so hard to love him sometimes, guys.
It's true. It's true. I do.
Oh no!
I say things to her when nobody's around. It's just her and me, and I will just shit on her.
I mentioned that during this
fun of her.
morning's show. I said, guys, you think Gary's misbehaving on the show? You should be with him in private.
I have a reputation to uphold. Being a dick. And I told somebody once, I said, not only am I I am so much of a dick, it's my middle name. And it is. That's my middle name.
It literally is, yeah.
It is.
David McCallum.
So what were we going to talk about today?
Oh,
We're supposed
David
to talk
McCallum.
about, we lost Dave McCallum. Who else? We lost
Michael Gambon.
Yes.
Dumbledore,
And-
yeah.
And people seem to only know him as Dumbledore. I'm like, man, that guy had a great career as an actor. Doing
He was in Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yes.
And but before that, he had a long stage career. He was, in many ways, like Patrick Stewart, he was a creature of the stage who just happened to cross over occasionally with parts in films. But I mean, he truly was. It truly was a coup to get him to step into the role of Dumbledore.
Now, many of us, though, wanted Peter O'Toole because of the relationship and friendship that Peter O'Toole and Richard Harris had for those years. And that guy was his understudy. They were each other's understudies. A lot of people don't know that if one was too drunk to go on stage, the other would step in their place.
That is just how theater works.
It's a true
guys.
story.
I grew up backstage. That's how they do it.
If Richard Harris and Peter O'Toole went out on a bender and one was more drunk than the other that was less drunk would go on stage for them that night. And I'm like, Peter O'Toole should have taken over Dumbledore. He was, in my opinion, better suited for the character. He was such an eccentric actor.
Yeah.
And that I don't think they even tried. And then later when they were casting for the prequels, I'm like, Jared Harris, Richard Harris's son, could play Dumbledore when he was younger. Yeah. And they got Jude Law, and I'm like, it's okay. I'm just like, Jared Harris would have been a better nod to Richard Harris.
Yeah.
But as far as I'm concerned, he was a replacement Dumbledore, and so therefore he's not really Dumbledore. Richard Harris is still Dumbledore to me. He's playing Richard Harris's part. So pay attention to his other films because he's done a lot of them. And Gosford Park, great movie. He played Lyndon Baines Johnson in Path to War. He nailed it. He nailed Johnson in that. I don't mean he had sex with Johnson. I mean, he nailed playing the character.
Only your mind goes there, Gary. Only.
Banging old Johnson in Keister.
Wow.
It's all about language. I catch myself saying things, and before anybody else can jump on, I try to jump on before they can. Jude Law does come off as a less,
Well, I was going to say he's also known for playing in The Singing Detective, and that was a major role.
The original,
also.
yes, the original.
Yes.
Because years later they remade it, and it was with
Mel
Iron
Gibson.
Man. Well, Mel Gibson directed it.
Mel Gibson directed it, but it was with RDJ, Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey Jr. played the guy with the burns all over his body, and it's pretty good. If you've never seen it, Singing Detective, go see that one. It's. I remember they used to have a lot of them at Blockbuster. Yes, back in the good old days. By the way, I posted the other day an image because somebody said, post a bunch of images of video cassettes with movies recorded on them and stuff, and TV shows. He says, back in the 80s, this is our Netflix. And I said, this was also our Netflix, an image of a friend coming over with Batman 89. Going, hey, I just bought this. Cool. Because a lot of us would do that. You remember that shit back in the 80s? Show up at a friend's house?
Yeah. I mean, it's again, you brought the snacks. Sometimes you didn't even bring that. But I mean, you would rent a movie, and if your parents really wanted to at least make sure you were going to stay home, they'd either give you the money or they'd bring you the movie.
Money for a movie and a pizza. That's right.
Yep.
And video stores have been around for a long time. It's not like there weren't video stores, because I remember the first video stores in the early 80s. They were renting. You would find probably more laser discs and beta than VHS at first, because beta was a thing. Remember that? Betamax?
Tell me you're old without telling me you're old.
And I remember when they got the laser disc for Blade Runner. I was like stoked, and I'm like, I need to get a laser disc. And then I went to I think it was Montgomery Ward at the mall, and I'm like, how much is the laser disc player? And they shoved me, and I'm like, what's the cheapest model? That is the cheapest model? I need to get a better job. Those things were expensive.
One of the other things about Sir Michael Gambon was he was also in Jim Henson's Storyteller.
Yes, that's right. Yes. He appeared on some other fantasy stuff on TV too. He was in another Muppet production. I can't remember what it was called, but he was in that too. Because I remember looking back all the way back into the 80s, man. He was all over the place.
Yes. And, well, he was a member of the Royal National Theatre with a career that extended, over 6 decades. He had received 3 Olivier Awards, 2 Screen Actors Guild Awards, and 4 BAFTA Awards. That's pretty damn good.
It really is.
I mean, again, I realize there are people that will only know him as Dumbledore, but his career, his life was a lot more than just that. And to win an Olivier Award, let alone 3, that's definitely somebody who definitely has earned his knighthood.
Yep. And he was on I can't remember the name of it. I just bookmarked it in the queue on F Movies, a British police drama from the 80s. And I'm going to check it out. He's one of the main characters in it. So very intrigued by that, because I love classic British TV, man. Hey, I wanted to share this because I was going to give an announcement that a dear friend of ours is going to be coming back to the show on November 15th. And I'm talking none other than Sarah Frazetta.
Yay.
So we just talked this last weekend. But this is something that popped up on my radar. And I was like, oh, wow, this is so cool. This is some original Frank Frazetta Battlestar Galactica artwork. That's Apollo. I don't know who that is. And that's Adama and some sort of dark figure. And it was used. It was used in TV Guide. There's a clip of it from TV Guide. And I saw that the other day. And here, I'll give a better close-up of the artwork.
Wow.
So you can really check that out. What do you think that is?
Athena.
Is that Athena?
No,
that's not Athena.
No, Athena's got very brown, really, really black hair.
Because this is a ginger.
Yeah.
I don't remember any of the characters with ginger hair.
Well, none of the characters look like in the show, so.
Oh, no, he's wearing body armor here. It's like
I'm talking about her relationship to Apollo.
But that is supposed to be Adama holding up something against this evil, whatever the heck that is. And clearly Egyptian stuff in it too, which there was a big Egyptian thing in it. This is a really cool painting from Frazetta. I like that.
Yeah.
And I'd never seen that one before. I've seen some of the other Frazetta artwork from Galactica, but I've never seen this one. But anyway, we're going to talk about, of course, Ilya
Kuryakin,
the Russian agent played by McCallum.
Scottish actor and musician David Keith McCallum. Again, this is a guy whose career spanned the 60s, because Man from U.N.C.L.E. started in 1964. So you're talking the 60s, the 70s, a portion of the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s. And he's never stopped working realistically. I mean, he would take time off for family, but he never really stopped working. And again, for me, the most surprising fact about David McCallum was the fact that he was an accomplished musician and put out several albums. And I just I'm totally blown away that someone who is a graduate, alma mater is the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, who then became known for playing a Russian and becoming, as far as I'm concerned, the first of the nerdy.
I think that would make him the first Scotsman to play a Russian. Sean Connery later.
Well, Sean Connery later. But he became the first nerdy sex symbol, because science fiction, adventure shows, all that other type of stuff, it was used as a way of really keeping kids and families in front of TVs. But then David McCallum came along, because seriously, really, those characters in Man from U.N.C.L.E. were really meant to be more of a TV kind of for television what Bond was for film. And the irony is that Ian Fleming, the creator of Bond, created the character of Napoleon Solo. And so he kind of shares credit for that show, Man from U.N.C.L.E. And David McCallum became huge in much the same way that Leonard Nimoy became huge for Spock. Ilya Kuryakin got a lot of fan mail during the run of that show. And a lot of people actually seriously thought that he was Russian until you actually heard his real voice.
Yeah. Well, this is one of his earliest, biggest roles right here. And it's one of my favorite episodes of Perry Mason. 1964, The Case of the Filthy Millionth Frenchman. And he plays a Frenchman in this, who thinks that he's in love with this girl here, who for some reason is married to some other guy, and he's got to help her get divorced because they grew up together in a village in France. And she's using him, and she's a terrible person. And it's a really great episode. And he's a tragic character in it. And it really got him a lot of attention doing this episode. Because if you were a main character on a Perry Mason episode, you had millions of eyes watching you.
Yeah.
And it gave him such a boost to his career, because he'd been doing nothing but parts overseas. And then when he came to the States, all these bit parts. Finally, he gets a meaty character like this one on Perry Mason. Next thing you know, his career takes off. And within the year of doing that, he's in The Great Escape, Freud. This movie is something else. If you've never seen this film, holy crap. I have it. I have this movie on my hard drive, and it is an intense film about everything that was wrong with Freud. Classic movie. But it sucks, but this guy lived a great life, and it sounded like the same with Gambon. These guys lived long lives. They lived upwards in the 80s, and what, David was almost 90, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. He had a damn good life and a hell of a career.
Yeah. He definitely invested a lot of time in his family. I mean, for a guy that worked as much as he did make the time for his kids, his grandkids, and his great-grandkids. And so this is definitely a life well lived. He wasn't out there
He was 90,
causing mischief.
He was 90.
He was out.
He made it to.
Yeah.
He was out there just making it. Yeah, he was making it work, and he was doing what he needed to do to really just scratch that creative itch. He truly was involved in what he was doing, and to have someone of his stature turn around and do an animated kids show, and in this case, David McCallum was Alfred for a while on Batman the Animated Series, and he also did Babylon 5.
Hold on.
Yes.
Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. was Alfred
for one of the movies, I should say, one of the specials.
Oh, okay.
related to Batman the Animated Series. But for me, it was just, it just always seemed like he was one of these guys that really just had a good time acting. And whether you're talking about a show like, say, The Invisible Man, which was kind of schlocky for even the 70s.
I enjoyed that show. I liked that.
But that's what I was saying. He made it work because of how he treated it. It could have been schlocky with anyone else, but he made it work. And then you turn around and do something like Sapphire and Steel.
Yes.
And I never saw that show. I never saw it.
No way. Even I saw it.
Yeah, I don't think I ever saw it. I wanted to share this too with him, because a lot of people don't know that he was with this woman, Jill Ireland, and
Charles Bronson.
I was getting ready to say the terrible news that she did a movie. I forget the name. It was a Western on a train. She did this movie with Charles Bronson, and Bronson's like, "I need to have you as my woman," and he stole her from McCallum.
Yep.
And it was a major news, if you guys remember back. Well, if you ever read those magazines, the tabloids. And she was frowned upon for what she did because she cheated on him with Bronson. Mm-hmm. But when Bronson married her, all of a sudden all that was forgotten, But amazingly, they stayed friends. They found a way to stay friends. And it kind of reminded me, because it's around about the same time with Eric Clapton and Richard Harris.
You mean George Harrison?
George Harrison.
They had 3 kids together, so that's probably why they made it work with friendship.
Yeah. So, but McCallum was a hell of an actor. He really was. I loved him as
a musician.
Yeah, I don't know him. I have no opinion on that. I know nothing of his work.
I will say this. If you are a fan of Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, their hit song, The Next Episode, use some music that was actually created back in the 60s by David.
Who is this Dr. Dogg and Dr. Dre?
We will discuss that after the show, but I think many people watching us right now. For me, The Man from U.N.C.L.E. was a nice starting point, because the Project Strangus Affair was the episode that really drew me in. Why? It was the episode that brought together, and remember, this is pre-Star Trek, it brought together William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy, both playing main characters in an episode together, pre-Star Trek. And for me, if you're cool enough to do a series like that, cool enough to bring us Spock and Kirk before they were Spock and Kirk, there's nothing that you can't do. And both of their careers, for Sir Michael Gambon and for David McCallum, I mean, again, lives.
And who was the other one that died?
Well, I don't have any more.
He's on the thumbnail. He's on the thumbnail. I didn't recognize who it was.
Well, it wasn't he who died. It was that person is actor Julian Richings, who will be here in Springfield for VisionCon. And a lot of people know him from Man of Steel. They also know him from Supernatural.
He was the scientist in Man of Steel. I remember him now.
Actually, he was one of the one of the.
He's the one that injects him. The one that's in that photo.
No. He's one of the Krypton members. The one who gets
shot.
shot.
He's one of the council members who pisses off General Zod at the beginning of the movie.
Oh, I thought he was the guy that injects Kal-El.
No.
They look alike.
And then what members of the fan base of Supernatural know him for is that he's Death.
Yes.
In Supernatural.
And so he's coming to VisionCon here in Springfield.
That's right.
All right, cool.
So if you get a chance, you can come to VisionCon, or you can catch Mr. Richings at any of his appearances at any of these fine.
What dates are those going to be?
Let's see. VisionCon.
October 13th, 14th, and 15th.
Thank you, John.
There you go.
So we October 13th, 14th, and 15th. It's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, right here in Springfield, Missouri, VisionCon. It's one of the state's best conventions, sci-fi conventions.
Yeah.
You and I have been associated with it for years.
That's right. VisionCon, you can find more information at visioncon.net. That's visioncon.net.
Which I'm going to miss this year.
Or net.
You're muted, Gary. Would any of you guys be there?
Well, I wasn't muted. For some reason, when people are talking over me, I get muted.
Oh.
Anyway, that's not why I muted myself. No, if you go to visioncon.com, it's a completely different site.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying don't go to visioncon.com, go to visioncon.net, because that is the correct address to go see that. But it's going to be exciting. You're going to cover it. I don't know. If you need anything signed, I'll show up. But because you're going to be selling artwork, right? Some of my artwork.
Actually, no, I don't have a table. What I will be doing is I'll be working on
Wait, you always have a table. What's going on?
I know I always have a table, but this year I have a project, and I will be working on a very special project during the event. So
fuck everybody. Hey, okay.
No, not that. But I will be giving information as soon as VisionCon.
Screw you guys, I'm going home.
It is a very special project that I hope to share more information about later on. But we first got to get past VisionCon this year before I can say anything. So
yeah, I'm not going to be there to hold down the table while he goes off and schmoozes with everybody.
What?
Are you coming down for VisionCon?
No, I'm not going to make it this year. It's my 35th graduation reunion
anniversary.
Yeah, I was about to say, how many times have you graduated? 38 times.
No, yeah. That's my 35th reunion, and I got stuff going on Friday and Saturday. So
if he has graduated 38 times, I think it's just two.
What are you fucking schools?
No, two grades less than Bucaro Banzai.
I'm not gonna say, man, Pell Grant.
I just have four graduations, so.
Nice.
I'll have 5. Well, I say 4. Technically,
I know everybody thought that was Pete, but that was actually my balls clapping.
No,
Jesus Christ!
Somehow that's gotta hurt.
Somebody end the show, please.
No, we still have 12 minutes. I'm going to make you endure all 12 of them.
Oh,
yeah.
Take the full 12. Okay.
You don't say anything to him. Nothing.
Look at that.
Just the white guy. Yeah, don't fall for it. I didn't kick her. She kicked herself. I'm enjoying having her on. It's just so much fun because she brings some joy back to the show.
Oh. Now he's trying to be sweet, so I don't really leave.
Oh, you're back.
Oh man, you're not helping your case, Gary.
I like Penny's joke. Penny says the clacker. You guys remember that?
God, Penny.
Yeah.
They outlawed them for a while because they were really hard glass, but they could shatter.
Yeah.
And when they exploded, they get in your eye and cut your skin and shit on your face.
Yeah.
And they were nice weapons.
My grandpa had a different name for those.
What did he call them?
Do we want to know?
No, I'm not saying it.
It's just like,
say it. Let's just say it begins with an N and then it's Knocker.
John, there's nothing to be done to ruin this show anymore. We run it to
no, this word would ruin the show. Yeah.
Noob knockers?
Yeah. I got to tell you, because like Craig, who used to be one of our producers on the show, was because I've been friends. We've been friends since we were kids, and Craig went to go through some of his stuff at his dad's, and let me find it here. Here it is. Let me pop this on screen here. All right. Share screen. And here we go. Share. So this is artwork I drew when I was 15, 16 years old.
Cool.
In 1980. And then I wrote, because if you look on there, there's names on there. It's like there's, let me see if we can zoom in a little bit here. Open image in new, there we go. So we can actually look at this artwork. There's names on there, and you see, of course, Jim Woodward is on there. Mike Beatty is on there. My sparring partner, Eric Burrell, and his little brother, Alan. Craig Edwards, of course, is on there, my buddy Craig. And then my Sanjay and VJ Mystery, Scott Shelton, who I think he died a year ago. I think somebody told me that he died. And it was kind of cool. We were going to do the voices. It was the cartoon that I was going to make for school. And it was just going to be a straight across the board, almost like an animated remake that would be like 5 to 10 minutes long of Empire Strikes Back. And that's how it started. And that's what this artwork was for. Now, that's not what happened. I mean, my anatomy has gotten so much better.
Your handwriting is neat, though. I didn't know guys capable of writing so neatly.
Looks like Biggs.
Yeah, just that face is so weird.
It looks like Biggs.
So
they're lighter.
So I wrote little information. It says Craig Edwards was going through some things at his dad's place and found this little piece of art I did back in 1980, possibly early 81, but I think it was actually near the end of 80. An idea that eventually evolved into the story Star Wars, The Amplifier Strikes Again, with characters like Puke, Streetwalker, Dark Bladder, Hands Only, let's see, Old Bend Over and Dooming, R. Diddy Two Titty, Steve Trippio, and then I said, I will not say here in public what I changed Princess Leia's name to because I got into a lot of trouble for it in high school when I did the little cartoon.
And guys, this is proof that men mentally turn 12 and then they're stuck at that for the rest of their life.
I never grew up.
No.
And then somebody did ask though, and they like, come on, man, tell me, where is it? Nice. Oh, there it is. Right
that's
here.
the first one.
Our buddy Flash Dixon says, you can't throw out that, and I won't convey what you changed Leia's name to. And I just wrote it right there. It was Princess. Can you read it?
Yeah.
Oh, don't say it.
I'm not going to.
Even though you said that word earlier today.
Yeah, but one is bad enough. Once is bad enough.
Yeah, but I said it in the medical sense. Oh, wait. No, I even said it before that, too. Yeah, so you're right. I'm going to hell.
Right.
Oh, you're not just going. They got a limo for you, bud.
They got a limo to hell.
Yep.
Yeah, they got the room next to the ice machine reserved for you.
No, it's Dark Bladder. Dark Bladder. Junk Troopers. I can't remember what I called Boba Fett. I came up with a name for him. And what I really got in trouble for was the last scene, which is when Luke Puke reaches to put his arm around Rhea, and she's not there, and you hear the vibrator, because they weren't called lightsabers, I called them vibrators. And when they fought, you would hear two vibrators clacking against each other.
Oh, dude.
I had a messed up sense of humor.
You still do.
So it ends with him going, Rhea, turning, and you hear the sound of the brrr, and her going, oh, and that was the end. And I got suspension for that.
Okay, everybody, remember this is somebody's dad. This is somebody's dad. Right suspension. Zoe's sense of humor is messed up because of me. She has the same messed up sense of humor, and you know what? I'm proud of it.
Defense mechanism.
I'm proud of my sense of humor, and I'm proud of hers because she's bold, proud, and out there with her sense of humor. Doesn't care if you don't like me; it's all right.
I'm proud how well she turned out, given she's your daughter and was raised by you. She's great.
You can go to hell.
To totally screw it out.
you can go straight to hell. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, this of course our Patreon. We don't talk about it enough, and I need to start doing this because our goal is to eventually get away from YouTube. I do not like YouTube. I don't like them at all. I don't mind talking shit about them on here because I think they're garbage the way they treat creators, and I'm sick to death of them nickel and diming us with our ads, and worse than that, the way that they go after us for the way we talk. Okay.
And the topics we're talking about.
And the topics, they're trying to police everything, and this is what you can talk about, and the only way you can talk about it. Like, no thanks. So eventually I want to move to Rumble completely. But for right now, we have Pop Culture Minefield with Keith and Gary over on Patreon. The link to our Patreon is right here in the chat. If you are not a patron, please consider becoming one and supporting us that way. Because once again, I'm sick to death of YouTube. I really am. I would like to see an evolution of leaving YouTube behind completely within a year to 2 years. I'm just so done with it. Find a better way for you guys to be able to chat with us because I love having the chat. I love the chat. The chat is the reason why I enjoy doing this show at all. Because I can't stand you fuckers at all.
I know you can.
Thank you.
So there's our Patreon. If you haven't become a patron, please consider doing so. And isn't that cool? I still have that one. That's my little BB-88. Only thing good that came from J.J. Abrams' Star Wars. That little bird right there.
I hate
it's his left. Oh,
I like him. I like that character, and I like his interactions with R2. He's just a droid. Don't hate droids. What's wrong with you, Martin? You're such a specious.
I don't hate
BB-8. That's a gorgeous spinner.
Droid.
It's just I cannot believe a Venezuelan that lives in Mexico being racist. But you are. They don't. By the way, did you like that when the immigrants from Venezuela made it to Texas and they were on that little island in that river? Oh. They put a flag up. The local Marines were like, "You don't get to do that."
Oh, don't. God damn it! I hate when some idiot with my nationality makes us look bad.
They really did, man. They really did.
It's
but
always
I know guys
group
like you.
Of people
I have other friends.
All the others look bad.
I have other friends from Venezuela, and I'm just telling you, man, they don't represent, brother. You do. So, but anyway, I want to thank everybody for being here today. We're down to the last minute here, and want to make sure we say hello to everybody that was in the chat. So let's go up here. Andy Morrow, a good limey friend. Penny, of course. I don't know what to do about that. Maybe we just need a mailing list, and we need to get MailChimp or something like that. Martin, John,
what?
Keith. Yeah. Let's get a mailing list so we make sure everybody that subs to us gets an update, at least by email. We need to take care of this because YouTube is shadow banning us. They've been doing it off and on for a while, and I'm sick of it. I really am. So, of course, Anima Confused was here in the chat as well as on the show. Lady V Elements, who has taken to finally calling me replicant, Gary. Christian Delorme, a very good friend. Ariel Bellet. Oh, Parrot Head was here. I didn't catch that. Kay Roberts, I saw that. Kay, I think is new to our show.
New, yes.
Yeah, that's a new name.
Welcome to the show, Kay Roberts. The Peter Vinkman fan site, Vinkman's Girl. Always glad to see you. Deleted Scenes, our good friend Stephen was here. Chris, oh, that's not somebody. Oh, FKHC 2005, of course, our good friend Tim. Don Ranger Power was here. Boosh McFadden, our dear friend, my dear friend, Shanatsky. And I think that's it. Did I get everybody?
I think so.
I don't want to miss anybody. I'm scrolling through to make sure I didn't miss anybody. And great comments there. I read everything I could. I saw a lot of the comments. I wish we could had time to comment on all of them. Because there are a couple of them I really freaking loved. Him being, like this one here. Let's see. Good stuff.
Yeah.
War Monkey. I didn't see War Monkey in the chat. So War Monkey
he was in the morning show too.
He was.
Back.
So War Monkey was here. No Monkey Jeebus today, so it was not a House of Monkeys. Still scrolling through, making sure I got everybody. I will not leave until I know I got everybody. And if you aren't a member through YouTube, or would like to switch your membership, please feel free to go to our Patreon account and become a member over there. Help support us. Help us be able to pay for, because right now we haven't paid for our StreamYard or for Rumble. It's been broke because I was in the hospital. So any little bit helps.
Look who's here, just arriving.
Blackass at the last minute, literally. We're a minute over. You show up a minute late. Look at you.
How dare you?
Well, you know what? How dare you? This is, as Keith would put it, he showed up on Black Guy time. Right, Keith?
That's the official designation at this point.
That's the official designation. I'm only adopted into the community. I'm not allowed to be late.
I'm as white as they come, and I'm on black people time a lot of the time.
There you go. Yes.
Which is funny because Vienna is known for its watches and clocks.
Is it?
Well,
Austria is.
Well, I'm just going to say that time is
confusing that
relative,
with Switzerland?
so I'm always on time.
Is it just Switzerland? I thought Austria is known for clocks too, clock makers.
I think Switzerland is more known for that. Clocks and chocolate. And cheese.
Yes. And Sweden is known for its Super 8 silent porn.
They know how to take all 12.
Jesus.
So that's it, guys.
Yep,
We're going to
one of us
out of here. We will be back tomorrow. I got to double check with Tom to make sure he'll be here. If he's going to be here, we will do Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. If he is not available because of his new job, we'll do something else.
He needs to be available. John is dying to wear his T-shirt.
Yeah, I know. But Keith and I have some other shows and movies that we want to talk about too. So I will check with him right after the show. I'll get a hold of him and then we'll decide what we're doing tomorrow. It is most likely going to be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because I think Tom confirmed he would be doing it this week. But I know things come up last minute, and I appreciate any time that time gives to us.
Yeah.
Well, so we can always do the last voyage of the Demeter.
Oh my God! You know what? I thought I was going to like that film, and I did not.
Yeah, that movie's shit.
I was rather disappointed.
Practical effects, man. And then with that story, I'm like, how can you screw up that story?
They found a way.
They found a way. You know, and I'm like, really? That's how you're going to end it? Oh, I was so just really brokenhearted over that. Yeah. So, but anyway, Martin, you know which one's the actual outro. Why are there two outros?
Oh, because I didn't want to delete one without consulting with you first. And
I think the other outro is the one that has KGRH.
Yeah.
One.
So which one is the right one? The 25 or the 20? I know we should have talked about this
25.
before the show. Okay.
Yeah. No, but we're making an audience part of the production.
Hey, any of you that's watching the show criticizing us for talking about how to end a show, good on
25 or 64.
You're totally right. Anyway, we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Bye.
Ma, I'm doing a show. Ma, I'm doing a show.